Hi, it's Friday morning and I'm going to do a quick review for you of the Chapter 10 quiz that's going to be due before Sunday at midnight, or by midnight on Sunday. So this is about new product development, this chapter, and all of us have to think about this in relation to things that we buy and we're interested in buying, or some of us may even want to start a business. If not, we're thinking about business. We're thinking about the luxury stores, we're thinking about a business based in Brooklyn and how that business is operating. And all of the businesses that we're considering have some kind of product, or if not a product that they're selling, they have a service that they're selling. And it can even be, it can even be something that's not material. So if you go in to get your nails done, that's a service, and that's something that's very definite. But there's also the possibility of an institution like Brooklyn College selling knowledge, or in a sense providing training, or providing a kind of insight into some particular area or field, gaining expertise and becoming, let's say, licensed, or becoming, receiving a diploma so that you can practice in that field, if it's accounting or nursing or whatever the educational field may be. So those are all examples of what businesses might provide, from products to definite services to ideas, let's say knowledge, we could say. Brooklyn College is also, in a sense, providing a service. We go to classes, we get the instruction, so we can think of that in addition as a service, but also as knowledge. So something a little less maybe tangible than when we go into a supermarket and we see food items. So one of the things we should understand for the quiz is understand this idea of the product mix. So that's everything that, let's say, a store is selling. So when you go into that store, all of the, whether they're selling men's clothing, children's clothes, women's, that's their product mix. And then within that product mix, they're going to have several, perhaps, product lines. So let's say they have the women's activewear line, they have the women's formal wear. That's a line of, let's say, clothing that's within the product mix. But the product mix is the entire offering of the store. And when we're thinking about these luxury projects that we're doing, think about if you've had a chance to visit any of these flagship stores like Burberry. The flagship stores provide the entire product mix. You'll find everything that Burberry has ever made or is currently selling in that flagship. That's their place where they display the whole lifestyle of the Burberry brand. So you'll find the entire product mix. On the website, you might not. You might only find select things, like, for example, Chanel hardly sells anything online. They're not selling the expensive purses that you could go into the store and buy. They're not selling, fur coats and clothing that may be in their store on Fifth Avenue. So you have to think about the issue of what is a brand presenting? Are they presenting, let's say on the website, are they presenting the entire mix? If not, why? What is the rationale behind it? Probably for Chanel, the rationale is that they feel that you need to see these are highly specialized, expensive products. The belief is that you need to go in and see them and not buy them online. So there's a philosophy behind that. Whereas another brand might say, like Louis Vuitton, has almost everything online, or a very large portion of its product mix. And the rationale might be, that we want to give people the choice, let them buy whatever they want. Maybe you are buying an expensive purse that you had before, or that you saw your friend with, and therefore you have some idea of what you want, and you can clearly go online and purchase it. You don't need to see it because you've already seen it. So that's their philosophy or way of thinking, to sell the whole product line. So understand about that. And about new products, understand the idea that there are different stages. Let's say you can do it in a haphazard way. Of course, you can just feel like, I've got this great idea, and every so often we hear about that, right? Somebody has an idea for some innovation, and they just like do it in a very haphazard way, without much planning, without really much capital to invest. Let's say it's something that doesn't cost too much, and they're extremely successful. So that happens from time to time, right? Just like somebody gets discovered and becomes, a famous musician, singer, model by chance, without really having taken the rational steps to go down that path. But understand that the different steps in the process when you when you think about developing a new product. Understand that. And also understand the difference between types of products. So for example, you have convenience products and you have specialty products, which are on the opposite end of the spectrum. So a very high-priced watch or car, or let's say a luxury vacation, that's going to be on the specialty, on the way at the high end of the spectrum. And the reason it's important to distinguish is that, let's say, the convenience product, chewing gum or something used to some kind of cleaning fluid that you might use at home, dishwashing liquid or detergent, those things are convenience items. We think about them to some extent, and probably maybe the first time we start to know that we need to purchase them, we may give it some consideration. What kind of detergent did my mother use? You have your new apartment and now you've got to buy it, you've got to do the laundry, and you may reflect upon it and think that, oh, mom used Tide, and or you might even ask your mom, what should I use to do my laundry? And she may tell you, or you may pay attention. Let's say all the time we're exposed to advertisements. Most of the time, most of us don't care too much about laundry. We don't pay attention. But if we're in the market we're buying a washing machine, we move into a new apartment, we've got to do our laundry for the first time, then we may be really attentive, so we pay attention. Or when we go to the store, we read the labels, we compare prices, we do some research even. And then when you come to a decision, though, most likely, and that's why for some of these convenience products, people tend to stay, if they're loyal, they tend to stay with the same one for a long time. And maybe laundry detergent is a good example. You know that Tide works. If it's $1 more, $1 less, you're not that concerned if a new product comes out that makes better claims. You've determined already, and you don't really think it's that important or worthy of so much investment of your time. But if it's something like a purse and you're thinking about a luxury purchase, then whether you buy a Chanel purse or a Prada or Louis Vuitton might become a very big decision. And indeed, people can spend years, which is very interesting, on luxury purchases. They can spend a long time getting to know the brand. That's why the websites are important also, because long before somebody may make the commitment, go into the store, they may be prepared to make a purchase by the time they go into the store, but they may use the website, and indeed people do that. They use the website for research, to figure out, to get to know the brand. And so it can be even years at the extreme limit of time that people spend. Some people, it may be very spontaneous, right? That's what you see. If you have ever been to Las Vegas, you'll see lots and lots of these luxury stores around because they know you won the jackpot. You're going to go and buy something very expensive because it's something unexpected and fun and interesting. So be sure you know the stages of product development. Also, understand that in terms of products, lots of things fail. So that most of the time, even when people follow very logical steps to study the market, to study what other people are doing with a similar kind of product or service, oftentimes these new products or new services can fail. And there's multiple causes for that. Sometimes it's beyond the control, sometimes it has to do with the economy shifting, sometimes it has to do with not marketing in the right way, not reaching people, not knowing how to reach the audience, or not reaching them in the appropriate way, not conveying the message clearly. So there's lots of things that can happen. And especially if you're interested in business, maybe starting a business or working in marketing, I think the article that you can read on Blackboard on branding by Douglas Holt is an excellent article, and it talks about how the brand itself, so the brand is a larger concept, so the product is what the brand offers, but the brand, like Burberry, Prada, that's the larger concept around which those products are shaped. So the brand has its own identity, it has its own history, and it's authored, and Holt talks about this, it's authored by the brand, by the company itself. So the company has lots of flexibility and lots of control and authority in terms of how it defines itself, just like as an individual. You're a person, you have your identity, your reputation, your kind of personality, persona. People come to know you as a certain kind of person, and you have a lot of control about how people see you. Obviously, if you don't, you drink too much and you're irresponsible, people are going to get a very bad impression. You may lose control of your self impression, but we have, to a large degree, we shape it. But it's not the total answer or the final answer, because what happens too, and this is, we can apply it to people, but let's go back to talking about brands. In terms of brands, you have other authors as well. You have people, let's say critics, people outside who are evaluating. So if it's fashion, you have the press, you have bloggers, you have people that are, film critics if you're going to be working in the film industry. Consumer Reports talks about, always is evaluating consumer products, cars and cell phones and whatnot, and computers. So those people out there are authors too. They're saying, no, Sony is not really providing the best type of system. You have to look at Toshiba. Perhaps Toshiba has really made strides and is doing interesting things, and they compare and they show how one compares to the other and how Toshiba has really become the leader in this particular product. And so the brand has its perception, it's presenting itself, but it can be countered, it can be challenged. And also consumers are authors. So think about that. And we're going to talk more about branding next week, but begin to read that article. And in terms of the test, understand just the how products are formed, how new products are formed, the different types of distinctions between products, and you should do fine. Okay, thanks for listening, and more next week.